Hi everyone, my name is Glenda with SureFit Designs. You know, I am always asked, can I work with knit fabrics with the SureFit Designs patterns? And the answer is a resounding yes, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. We're going to look at how to identify the stretch of the knit and the effect that it's going to have on the pattern, and then I'll actually show you how to size the pattern down if you need to. So first of all, we're going to look at some knit samples and the stretchiness of them. When you are looking at a knit fabric, you need to be testing the crosswise grain line and the stretch here. So here is the selvage and there's the cut edge. So now what you'll do is you'll come down approximately 10 to 12 inches into the center of the fabric and in from the selvage as well, and pick up approximately 10 inches of fabric. Now I have here marked a 10-inch span between this side of the tape and that side of the tape. So there we've got 10 inches and I'm going to stretch it comfortably. And gosh, this barely stretches beyond 11 inches. That means it's a limited stretch knit. It hardly has any give to it at all. And you will likely want to do a little test on the vertical stretch as well. And when I pick up 10 inches of that, gosh, it barely gives. It's even less than the other one. So this is called a limited stretch knit, or it would have about 10 to 11% stretch. And let's take a look at the next sample here. Once again, here is the selvage. Here is the cut edge right here. And we're going to come down into more of the center of the fabric and grab 10 inches, and I'll go to my marker like this and give that a stretch, and this one's stretching to about 12.5 to 13. So that's more of a moderate stretch knit. And checking the vertical stretch, let's see what happens with that. And it barely gives. So even though it's got stretch in both directions, it's the horizontal stretch that we're most concerned with, because that's what's going to go around your body. So I would consider this between limited and a moderate stretch knit. Now we'll go on to a stretchier piece. Taking a look at this, it's a very, very sheer piece of fabric, and it is a knit, and the stripes are the horizontal stretch part of this. So again, I'll have to come down a little bit further into the body of the fabric, pick up 10 inches of that, and gosh, this stretches almost up to what, about 16 inches. So it's very definitely a very stretchy fabric. And something else I want you to see is the good rebound effect that this has. Not all stretch fabrics rebound as well as this one does. And so that also is going to affect how much you size your pattern down. And speaking of patterns, it all is going to depend on how tight you want your knit garment to fit you. Are you making a t-shirt or a top like I'm wearing that has still some ease to it and some fullness? Or do you want to wear a skin tight tank top? When it comes to knit pants, are they going to be more of a casual style of pant where you want them just skimming your body, or do you want them skin tight leotards? Again, all of those things are going to affect how much you size down. And the other thing, of course, is your personal preference. How do you like your garments to fit? We'll take a look at one more piece here, actually two more pieces. We'll start with this yellow knit. This is kind of like almost like a swimwear type of knit. But you could also use this for leggings if you wanted canary yellow legs. So there's the selvage and there's the crosswise cut. So we'll pick up 10 inches of this one. I've got about 3 yards of it, so it's a little bit bulky here. And look at how much this stretches, a lot. And it's got excellent rebound. And this is also going to have some of the vertical stretch as well. Not as much, so this means that the knit's going to go around your circumferences in this direction. And those were all knit fabrics that stretched in varying degrees. Let's take a look at a piece of woven fabric, and you can tell this is woven because there are the fibers that are coming off of this. And you know that we have a lot of woven fabric that has anywhere between 2 to 5, 6, 7% lycra or spandex in it. And depending on how much stretch it's got in that woven fabric, it's going to obviously sit and feel different on your body. So we'll take a look at this. We've got 10 inches and it barely stretches up to 12 inches, but notice that it doesn't have a really good rebound effect. So again, I'm likely going to treat this one differently than I would if it was a knit fabric. So now what we're going to do is go to the table. I'm going to pull up a pattern and we're going to take a look at what you actually need to do with your body blueprint in relationship to the SureFit Designs master pattern. Now we're going to take a look at the pattern and what you need to do. Are you going to make a pair of pants? Are you going to make a top? You're going to need to lay down 3 layers. First of all will be the master pattern, because we do need to see these grading dots and how far apart they are. Next, you're going to lay down your body blueprint. And the reason that you want to lay your body blueprint over top is because you may have slope to shoulder, square to shoulder, done some modification in the armscye area. Any number of things could have occurred with your body blueprint. So, and you don't want to have to do this again for whatever pattern it is you're going to make. So you lay your body blueprint down, and if you have drawn your grain line exactly the same length as the grain line marking on the master pattern, then it's real easy to realign it. So I always encourage you to do that. So I'm just using a couple little pieces of removable tape to hold that in place. Now, you are going to size down. With a limited stretch knit and some moderate stretch knits, you may not want to size down at all, just simply because you don't know how that's going to feel on your body. But with some moderate stretch knits, yes, definitely you'll size down, and for the very stretchy knits, you will. And in this sample, I'm going to actually show you how to size down 1 series of size dots. But as I said earlier, if you're making a pair of leggings, you'd need to size down 6 dots because you really want those to be tight to your body. I've done a little pre-work on this pattern, and I've got the grain line marked, again, exactly the same length as the grain line on the pattern, and I've marked in center front. And those would be the first 2 steps for you to do on your pattern work. And I'm also just taping this down to give it a little bit of stability. All right, now what you need to do is measure the space between the grading dots. So these grading dots right here are further apart than the grading dots in the armscye area. So let me show you an example of grading down 1 series of dots. You measure the space that's in between the dots and bring your circumference in that amount. So you would do that at the underarm, you would do it all the way down the side of your pattern and into the waist area, because remember, this knit is going to stretch around your body. So that's removed. When you size down 1 measurement dot, you're taking out 1 inch all the way around. And I'll do the armhole area, and that's a smaller amount of space between the dots. So I'll just use my seam gauge, I'll measure that, and mark the armhole area a little bit smaller. Now, what do you do at the shoulder and the neckline area? Well, it's going to depend whether you've got a lot of vertical stretch in the fabric as well as the horizontal stretch. If we take a look at this slinky top that I made, this has a lot of vertical stretch going this way, and slinky is also a heavy fabric. So you know that when it's hanging on your body that this is going to drape downward. And so at the shoulder line, I did come down 1 dot. And again, you just measure in between the dots and mark down. But for instance, with the top that I'm currently wearing, there was barely any crosswise stretch to this, and so I didn't size down at all in the circumference or in the neckline. And it just is simply going to be dependent, as I've said before, on your personal preference, wearing preference, how tight you like your garments to be, and the give of the fabric. And then after this, you will just start connecting the dots together. And I'm doing this in red so that you can really see the distinctive difference between the body blueprint and the new lines that I'm making. And it will look in this fashion. So you just continue now connecting around. Now, once you have got your blueprint done and sized down, then from here, you can start adding in your design features. So there's an example of this body blueprint being sized down one series of size dots. And then if you wanted to do a sleeveless garment, you may bring the shoulder in, you might scoop the neckline, you might take the dart and move it down into the lower side seam, as I've done on this black slinky top. There's just any number of design changes that you can make. All right, now that you've got your pattern size down, a couple of things to remember. What I've been showing you here has been based on your body blueprint without seam allowances, so make sure you add them afterward. And the other thing is, when you're sewing this up, because you're working with an unknown, being how much stretch and how it feels on your body, please make sure that you baste your long vertical seams so that if you need to take it in some more, it's going to be real easy for you to do that. So for this and other videos about working with SureFit Designs on fitting, designing, and sewing, please do make sure that you go to the SureFit Designs Learning Center and click on the video library. Also, in the article library, you are going to see an article on knits and wovens, and between the article and this video, you're going to have lots of information for working with all of your knit fabrics.